All right, let's talk about Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs, who, no getting around it, Kelce had a bad game. I mean, he did. Obviously, the stats were bad, and they were even worse prior to him having a pretty good, final few minutes to allow the stats to get a little bit better. But it wasn't just the stats. In fact, when I watched the tape, I was kind of really surprised by how rough of a game I thought this was from Kelce. So let's get into it. Starting off with, first there was obvious things, something like this. It's a play where he's trying to get into a gap in coverage over the middle, just a 3-man rush for the Eagles, so 8 players in coverage. Mahomes is going to take the snap. You see, Kelce is doing what he always does, right? Going to get open over, in this little area right here. So, okay, so far so good. However, this throw is a bit off, and Kelce just isn't able to make the grab. I mean, listen, two things can be true, right? I mean, for one thing, should have been a better throw from Mahomes, but also Kelce usually makes those catches, right? So that's not ideal, but okay, drop passes happen. But heading over here, this is the biggest issue, right? Is he just wasn't able to get open consistently in this game. Something like this, it's a one-on-one matchup right here on a 3rd down and 3. So this is what you look at with Kelce a lot of times. Now, Mahomes is going to look in Kelce's direction, but you see, for Kelce, I mean, he doesn't get any separation at all during this play. Mahomes tries to make something else happen, but contact doesn't allow him to, and ultimately it's an incomplete pass. So this is the kind of thing that Kelce used to be just elite at this. He used to never, get covered up here, and he's not even going up against some great player. He's going up against a backup linebacker. Remember, the Eagles lost a linebacker early on this postseason. Oren Burks, who has played well, is still a backup linebacker who is covering Kelce really well on this play. There were also just some, weird plays here, like this one, for example. So you see where he is on the field. He's going to be run blocking on this play. It's going to be a running play, and watch what happens. As you see, the timing gets messed up. He ends up running into his own running back, and they don't gain anything. They gain a yard or so, but that was it. That's not good. That's not ideal. So I don't know exactly what happened or why the timing got messed up. Usually I feel like that's often on the blocker when those things happen. Not always, so I can't say for certain. I'm not in the huddle, but that's weird. Also, this play, which again, I don't think is his fault, but it's still worth talking about because again, it's kind of the weird things that happen when Mahomes was involved. So again, 3rd down and 3. I think the Chiefs had too many obvious passing situations this game where they had too many 3rd and 9s where they struggled. But there were some of these, which is kind of what they like to be in. 3rd down and 3, they've converted these at such a high rate this year. And so for a lot of stuff like what you see on the screen, you have a receiver run a deeper route, and then you have Kelce kind of just follow him, sits down right past the line to gain. Well, Mahomes takes the snap. He looks in Kelce's direction. Kelce's open. Okay, yeah, throw and catch. We've seen them do this 1,000 times. But Mahomes' throw is just, again, it's weirdly hard for throwing it that quickly and also below where you want it to be. I don't blame Kelce for not making that catch. How was he supposed to? Part of me does feel like I'm wondering, was Mahomes expecting Kelce to continue running? I don't know what happened there. Again, just weird stuff happened when Kelce was involved in this game. But also, I have to say, listen, Kelce, let's do the Kelce versus Gronk debate for a second, which I don't really care about that stuff. They're both 2 amazing tight ends. But the reason I bring it up is because what often gets criticized with Kelce is people criticize his blocking, and I think he's a fine blocker. I think that stuff's usually overrated. I actually think he's pretty good a lot of the time. He was not good in this game. He was really struggled when he was blocking. This situation, it's him and it's a halfback going up against Josh Sweat, which is, the idea is you double team him, but they're trying to help out the offensive line, right? And so if you can use a back and a tight end to block an edge rusher, that means you can use your other 5 offensive linemen on the other 3 guys. Okay, now you can actually have time to throw on a 2nd down and 14. Here, though, watch how Kelce, he just, again, no getting around it. He struggles, and honestly, it looked like he might have even held a little bit there, too. They give up a sack. That's not what you want to have happen. So, yeah, that's definitely not ideal either. And also heading over here, to me, this is probably the biggest thing that was an issue so this is a 3rd down and 9. We got to talk about the whole situation, because we can sit here and blame Kelce all we want, and we should. He missed too many blocks, dropped passes, wasn't getting open consistently. That's just the reality of the situation, and while we can say, oh, he's old and washed up, well, he had a really good game against Houston, right? That's not always the case, and even against Buffalo, he was able to do some other stuff, even if he wasn't making a ton of catches. But I think a play like this is kind of really why he was taken out of the game. So this is a 3rd down and 9. The Eagles are going to be in zone coverage, as they were a lot in this game. Well, like I said, you got to help out these offensive linemen. They're struggling. So what do you want to do? You want to chip. So Kelce, who's a tight end here, you gotta block first, and then you run more of an underneath route to try and get something open. So okay, the advantage of a chip is you can slow down an edge rusher. The disadvantage, of course, it just takes you longer to get into a spot, right? Okay, makes sense. Well, but here's the issue. So he does what he's supposed to do, helps out his offensive line. Right here, though, now he's getting ready to start running his route. This play is over because there's too much pressure. Mahomes has to figure something else out. As you see, Mahomes tries to figure something else out and can't. And that's, to me, the biggest issue is Kelce, okay, he didn't do a great job of blocking. He was blocking too much, right? And when he was running routes, it was after blocking where he didn't have time then to get open. So, did Kelce play poorly in this game? I think so. I mean, everyone did, right? What Kansas City Chief player played well in this game? I don't know. Maybe there's someone, Creed Humphrey, I guess. But, as a whole, this was, yes, Kelce did not play the way he should have, and he, again, was bad in some ways that he's usually good at. In some weird ways, he wasn't able to block very well on top of it, and wasn't able to get open consistently. I think some people could say, well, does this, I guess, to change the discussion a little bit, a lot of people have speculated, is he going to retire? At the end of the day, Travis Kelce might not be the elite Travis Kelce we know him as, where in his prime, he's just unguardable. Again, his playoff statistics are better than any receiver's playoff statistics, let alone tight ends. He's still a very effective player, and the Chiefs would love to have him if he decides to stay. I don't think it's a guarantee that he's walking away. Now, sometimes players say, you know what, if I lose a step, I'm not going to stick around just to stick around. I'll ride off into the sunset. At the end of the day, I don't know what's in Travis Kelce's head. You don't know what's in Travis Kelce's head unless you're Travis Kelce watching this, which that would be weird. Why would you watch a video of me saying you played bad? I don't know. But as a whole, I think this is, again, they needed more from him in this game. I think that's reasonable to say. While the offensive line is what's getting most of the talk, there were a lot of plays where they did have time and nothing was getting open. Kelce could have been one of those options and wasn't. And again, too many of these other fluky plays. So yeah, it was a weird game. It was just a weird game from Kelce, not able to get it done. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on what he was able to do, or really what he wasn't able to do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.